We had a great off week. I thought we got better in a lot of different areas. Team camaraderie. We definitely got healthier. It was great to get guys, fresh, so to speak, with 2 days worth of work on the practice field, and then about 3 to 4 days off for our guys just to really, recapture themselves, so to speak, freshen themselves up mentally and physically to get ready for this ball game. The team that we're about to play here on Saturday night is a very physical football team, very gifted, very disciplined. And the past 3 years that we've played these guys, they've always played with their hair on fire, so to speak. And so it's going to be a very exciting challenge Saturday night to go up against a veteran group of football players.
Coach, I guess first of all, when you had a chance to go back and watch the tape and reflect on the first 5 games, what were you able to identify and improve on offensively?
Well, the first thing we wanted to evaluate was our ability to run the football. In what personnel groups, what formations, and who specifically gave us the best chance to push the football down the field via the run game. And we were able to come up with a pretty good idea of who those people are, what personnel groups, what formations, what down distances that we need to continue to move the football in addition to how do we get the football into the hands of our playmakers. I feel really good about the guys that we have and that we've gotten the football to throughout, weeks 1 through 5. Now it's really about recreating those same type of touches for those guys in order to get open and create some more big plays. And then overall, just, how well have we developed our talent from week 1 through 5, and now going forward, what do we need to see from these guys to finish up these last 6 ball games?
What did you see out of Buckshot during the off week to get his mind off how previous 2 weeks have gone and get him back on track to where you saw him weeks 1 through 3, where he's taking care of the ball, making good decisions, not holding on to the ball too long, and really giving this offense a chance to move down the field?
Yeah, so we had to evaluate, if there's an error at the quarterback position, what is it specifically? Is it like you had suggested there? Is it the fact that we're holding on to the football too long? Are we dropping our eyes during the pass? Are we watching one guy and then getting our eyes off the progression and then trying to make something happen? Are we overthrowing footballs because our timing and rhythm is off at the quarterback position, the feet specifically? And so what we were able to do last week was just go back through the basic fundamentals and techniques that have allowed us to be successful in weeks and years past. And at the quarterback position, and like others, there's all types of things that distract you. There's both internal and external things. And as we talk about all the time and at the quarterback position, you have to ignore and eliminate anything that can take you away from your routine. Playing the quarterback position is about going through your routine day in and day out, play in and play out, and not getting distracted by anything internal or external. And we got back to the basic fundamentals and techniques last week, and I'm excited to see this week's worth of preparation go into Saturday night and see him climb the ladder in that area specifically.
Coach DeArmond is a guy who's been around Liberty a long time, played both quarterback and wide receiver. How is he able to use that experience to kind of propel him into his current position as coach of the wide receivers?
Well, I always say if you've played football previously and then you go into the coaching world, that you have an advantage over guys that haven't played, and it's specifically being experienced, knowing what it's like to be on the field in crucial down and distances, understanding what preparation goes into playing your best football, in addition to playing against talented players week in and week out. And what Coach DeArmond has been able to provide for our guys is a unique experience and viewpoint at that position, because he's played quarterback in years past, and then he was transitioned to wideout. And so he can tell them, hey, this is what the quarterback is thinking, specifically when he sees this look. And this is what you should be expecting when you see this look. And so his ability to be able to recapture his own experiences and place them into our players' own minds and psyches has been very, very beneficial. And so, I'm a big advocate for Coach DeArmond and what he does with those guys, just because they believe in what he's teaching, and as a group, they've come together because of that unique experience that he's had, and he's been able to share with those guys.
You mentioned trying to do some new things in the run game, so to speak. You're facing a team this week that's sixth in rushing defense in the country. What kind of a challenge is this going to be this week?
Well, like anything, when you play a very disciplined defense, you have to figure out a way, find out a number of different measures in order to get them to play undisciplined. And there's a number of things that you can do to teams of that nature. One, you just have to match and exceed their physicality. Two, you have to be out. You have to out-discipline them, down in and down out, in the sense that you have to be dedicated and committed fully to playing with the right hat and hand leverage and playing through the echo of the whistle. If you can do just those two things right there, and you call the right ball plays, 9 times out of 10 you're going to come, on the other side of that line of scrimmage with 4 or 5 yard gains in the run game. And so for us, it's really about matching and exceeding, their intensity, and then, executing and out disciplining them with the right hat and hand placement in the run game.
Talk about the defense. What have you seen out of Bryson Armstrong, a redshirt freshman linebacker, what he's been able to do through 5 weeks, and what he can do in terms of getting to the quarterback, and also what he can do in coverage, number 42, with what he does in terms of getting those interceptions as well?
Yeah, so he plays a very unique position, one that's we're familiar with. Our defense plays a similar scheme in some respects, and that position, that's not for the weak-minded or weak-bodied. You got to be a tough guy at that position because they ask you to do a lot of different things. And this young man's been able to come off the edge and create, some havoc in the pass game, and then even in the run game when he's coming off the edge, he's really, really physical, and he takes on blocks really, really well. When you talk about dropping in coverage and being able to, to read the lanes and read the number of different receivers that are getting out in their pass routes, he's done a really good job. He's got his hands on a couple footballs. And, like anything, if you play with good eyes and you understand, the structure of your scheme, you're going to make a bunch of plays. And he's been able to do that in weeks 1 through 5.
Coming off of St. Francis, did you feel like the offense kind of needed a chance to recharge its batteries a little bit, maybe a week to just kind of step back and look and see what needed to change?
Yeah, certainly. I think regardless of what your record is and your and where you're at that point in the season, a bye week is much needed for a number of different reasons. One being your mental psyche, just because it's Groundhog's Day when you get in the season. Every day is the same. Every day is the same. And two, just a physical standpoint. We're not on the field very long, but we're very, very physical in practice. We get after it, and so 4, 5, 6 weeks of banging day in and day out can take a toll on your body. And so it was really, really good for us to still get some work in for 2 days and then get away, but then just recapture, the energy and the momentum needed to go forward throughout the rest of the season. But was very, very excited and pleased with the way that we were able to get our work in early on last week, and then come back on Sunday and have a great day after 4 days off.
Can you talk about their defensive scheme and what you're expecting to see most of the game, and then also specifically with their secondary and some of the matchups that you have there? It seems like you've been able to exploit some of those in the past against these guys.
Yeah, so these guys play a very, very physical brand of football in the box, the 4D linemen and the 2 box backers, and they play really, really well with their eyes. And they have a relatively good length, and they're able to, in the run and pass game, create some separation at the line of scrimmage and be able to key what's going on in a run-pass game and make plays according to what they're assigned to do. And so with that being said, blocking the box is going to be big this week just because those guys have been very, very disruptive in the run and pass game. And then when you talk about the back 7, which being the 4 DBs and the 3 linebackers, those guys are very, very active in the run and pass game as well. Being a read defense, they're reading hats and hands, whether it's a pass or a run look, and they're going to insert their fit accordingly. And so with that being said, they're going to have all hats and eyes on that backfield, and they're going to know exactly if it's run or pass. And if you're trying to do something that's kind of creative or mischievous, they're going to be able to recognize it because they're well trained and well versed in their system. And this is the third year in it playing, and we've played against these guys, a lot of the same guys that are juniors now and sophomores, and they've seen a lot of football, and they know exactly where the weaknesses are in their defense.